John Wick Chapter 4. I have rewatched this film now, and I have the more divided opinion than the internet seems to have on it, which is strange because I really do love the John Wick franchise. But this film doesn't feel right to me, and I don't know why, but I want to go over it because talking to the internet about this film seems easier than thinking about things because my brain doesn't work that way. Oh yeah, and there's going to be spoilers for this film. This film came out like 3 months ago or something. I honestly can't remember. So, yeah.
Right.
Now, I will say that John Wick Chapter 4 has excellent action scenes, uh, eh, that and very good cinematography. Yeah, that's very important right there. Yeah, that's about all I can think of or why John Wick Chapter 4 is a good film. Because the plot is a bit all over the place and many parts of it are inconsistent with the build up to this film from the previous three films. Now, it's nowhere near as bad as Mission Impossible, with just going completely off the rails with a random plot, but it is still very inconsistent with what we've been taught about the universe so far to try and build a story that kind of doesn't feel like it goes together like that. It also has a lot of plot holes, this film, for the John Wick franchise, which is kind of upsetting. Now, in terms of how I like the John Wick films, the first film is my favourite, second film is probably my second favourite, and this will probably be around where the second film is. This Chapter 4 and Chapter 2 are about the same for me, I'd say. But nothing will beat Chapter 1. Chapter 3 is a very interesting case of it didn't really need to exist because it didn't really do much for the story. We started the film with John on the run, and we ended the film with John on the run in Chapter 3. Um, Everything kind of just went back to the way it was, and then this film picked up from where Chapter 3 ended. By this film, I mean Chapter 4 picks up where Chapter 3 ended, and then everything actually goes to shit, and everything it doesn't end the same way as where it started, unlike Chapter 3. But Chapter 4 is still does things that Chapter 3 did badly, and it takes them to a new level. First thing I want to talk about is the how long some of the action scenes are in Chapter 4. Chapter 3, I did have a problem with some, and put this like some action scenes going on for a little while and becoming repetitive, as it. But I mean, these are the third and fourth films in this franchise, so some of the actions that John performs, like his gun through moves, we've seen them 100 times before, so it does get repetitive. And in these two films, it feels like they're really going over the top with the amount of fighting that needed to be done, or like non-unique fighting, just John chucking people aside, shoot, chuck to the other side, shoot again. It gets repetitive. We don't need to see like 100 shots of Keanu Reeves just chucking a guy down, shooting him in the head. Whilst these films, these two new ones, also brought in some unique fight scenes, like with the shotguns and nunchucks and fire guns, all that stuff. Both of these films have definitely had a problem with dragged out fight scenes, and I think Chapter 4 did a worse job than Chapter 3, even because Chapter 3 wasn't too bad because the pacing was, well, it wasn't brilliant. It still was better than Chapter 4, which is over 2.5 hours long, and just doesn't feel like it should be that long because it really didn't need to be. And the fight scenes just go on for too long. There's and Chapter 4 specifically a fight scene in the Japanese Continental, which where a bunch of samurai come along, start fighting, and it's, look, this is cool action scene that you think, oh, that's not going on too long, John will escape, everything goes like that. But there's like this part where he gets into like this art exhibit, and he just keeps fighting and fighting and fighting these bulletproof guys, and the bulletproof characters all take a while to defeat already, and he has to fight like 50 of them. I can't actually remember. It's probably not 50, but you had to fight a lot of those characters, and it just didn't add up well because it just felt like it was really dragging on a part of the film that didn't need to be as long as it was. And then eventually it got to the Kane fight scene, which was way better as it introduced a cool new character. But that part felt like it was brought down a bit because he could have just met Kane in that room and it get all dramatic. The drama had already been built up, but then we lost a lot of that with just the fight scene in there already, where it was a bit all over the place. And it's the same thing with the Berlin nightclub, where John just keeps fighting a bunch of guys to get to this mafia boss, who, what though was very cool. Also, like, didn't need a massive fight scene for this point. It could just been John going up against a big boss, mafia boss, but just, they had to drag it out again. And the Paris fight scenes, most of it wasn't dragged out, but there were parts that just felt like, why are they still going on? That's my first complaint. That's just the fight scenes are very dragged out in these 3 and 4. 4 more so. I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as like a shonen anime's fight pacing. Like One Piece, the Wano arc's been going on for over 100 and something chapters, and 100 and something episodes, and that is still going on. Yeah, but it's still the very dragged out fights that definitely hurt the pacing. Wasn't a great thing for this film. Main part of why I think this film is very overrated is that John Wick is a franchise. It is a action franchise now. It's maybe not on the level of other action franchises like Mission Impossible or James Bond, but it is an action franchise. And it did set up a bunch of rules for how things work. Like, there's a semi-reality. I mean, obviously there's not reality to the action scenes, but there's literally guys not being able to aim at John, just shooting them, blah, blah, blah. And, these weapons and bulletproof guys. But there was a sense of reality to it, and how you move around the world, and how there's this big group that is controlling everything. This film all these rules were set up in the first 3 films very well. Like, even 3 doesn't break any of the rules, and none of the films really break the rules that badly. Chapter 4 really badly broke all of these rules, and it was kind of annoying. Firstly, John is able to teleport to different parts of the globe with ease, when in the previous film it's explained that it's nearly impossible for him to travel anywhere without the help of another member of the organization, the Assassin's organization, like, to hide him. But this film, he travels to Japan, he travels to the Middle East, then Japan, then New York, then Berlin, then Paris, all in a span of a few days, and it's like it's super easy. I'm just wondering how that, you could say he had help from Lawrence Fishburne's character, but that doesn't really add up, and it was very annoying plot contrivance. But I guess many people didn't care too much. They just wanted a cool action. But even then, we also had problems with actual characters in the film not doing much or being there for pointless reasons. The 2 that I can think of are the daughter of the Japanese Continental's director. She just was kind of there to... I don't know why she was in this film. It's obviously they're trying to set something up with her with the post-credit scene, but it's very annoying that they just kind of had her for no reason other than to do some action, and then say, John, you better kill Kane. That was her point. But I mean, I can't really complain about her that much compared to the one who I actually consider like completely useless, who is the Tracker. Why does this character exist? The Tracker was just pointless in this film. He did nothing. His entire thing was, I got to get more money for capturing John Wick or killing him or something. And then he didn't kill John Wick. He basically did nothing to John Wick. It was pointless. He was a pointless character, and he did no service to this film. It just didn't come out that brilliant. And John already had an antagonist for most of the film in Kane, who had a very similar but different ideology to John. John was just killing for his freedom. No, wait, no. John was probably going to die for his freedom, and Kane was willing to kill for his freedom with his daughter, and they both became very good opposite, two sides of the same coin type characters. And Chaka just felt, why was he even there? He had no, he just shouldn't have been a character, and he was not interesting as well. I mean, his main thing was he had a dog, which we had in the previous film with Halle Berry's character, so I don't really know why he was included. It's just another thing of casting for a bigger universe. I mean, they're making the Continental into a TV show. Yeah, it's John Wick 4 definitely has problems. It's too long a film as well. The entire Berlin nightclub scene could have just felt like a side quest in a video game. Just what, this guy killed someone who helped us, so we won't help you till you kill him, and it just feels like extending the length for no apparent reason. The fight scenes were in the nightclub weren't important, and I just don't understand why this film needs to be that long. This film also, it's clear to me now, it would have been better as part 3. John Wick would have been better as a trilogy. As part 3 in the just John Wick franchise wasn't very good, or didn't move the story along that much. So if part 4 was part 3, we could have had a great trilogy, but we didn't, and these last two parts have been very messy, I've got to say. Now, I love Keanu Reeves, and I loved Kane in this film specifically. He was one of the best characters, but it doesn't hold back the fact that this film has multiple shortcomings. It's a good action film, and it's got some brilliant cinematography, and the story does, and it's got a good villain, I'll admit. What's his name? Stellan Skarsgård's son, who I'm forgetting the name of. He was a good villain for this film. The characters were a little better in this film than they were in the previous one, but still nowhere near the OG characters from the first film. And I'm going to be honest, it let me down quite a lot, this film, just how it felt like it really was trying to be an ending, but it was trying to lengthen out something that it could have easily done in 2 hours. Felt like they added 45 minutes on for no reason, and it just got boring, and the pacing all fell apart. And I just can't reason this film to be a good the best action film, this great action film that so many YouTubers and review people have said is this amazing film. It just, to me, it was never. It's not the best John Wick film. It's not the best action film ever, and I don't understand why people are saying it is. It is very, very, in terms of story at least, and in terms of consistency with the world it's in, it's bland. I'd probably give it around a 7 out of 10, and that's low for the John Wick franchise, as I consider John Wick Chapter 1 a 9.9, Chapter 2 a 9, and Chapter 3 a 7, so maybe a 6 actually. So it was pretty disappointing, I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of sad that it had to go this way, but the franchise, that John Wick at least is over now. We're getting Continental spin-off, we're getting something with Kane, and I'm looking forward to that. But I felt like it could have ended a bit better. Even the duel was a bit meh and a bit weird. The duel at the end of this film felt a bit weird as well. I don't know, my thoughts are still a bit chaotic in my head about this film, so I just thought I'd hop on and say what I was thinking at the current moment about it to get it out of my mind. And maybe my views will change in the future, but I have seen this film twice, and a second and a third time, but I only watched about half of it before hopping on here, and I can't say anything nice about it, which is really unfortunate. Well, I can say nice things, but I can't say anything really like how it's a brilliant film. So yeah, Uh, if you have a different opinion or you want to chat about it, just comment below and please subscribe. I need more subscribers because it's YouTube and YouTube hates me on the algorithm. Woo! See you in the next one.